are back in the news because of a bill that was just signed by Pennsylvania Governor Corbett that would limit your ability to speak after you just gave a commencement address, a taped commencement address to Goddard. Can you respond to the signing of this bill?
I think it's really quite extraordinary that unconstitutional Tom Corbett, a former Attorney General of the state of Pennsylvania, as governor, would sign into law a law that he knows is unconstitutional.
This call is from the State Correctional Institution at Mahanoy and is subject to monitoring and recording.
Moreover, as a governor and as an attorney, right, and a member of the bar, he had to take a sworn oath for both offices. And that oath was to protect and defend the constitutions of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the Constitution of the United States of America. By signing that bill into law, he has violated both of his oaths as governor and as an attorney. As I said, he knows what the law is. He knows about Snyder versus Phelps. I'm sure you covered the case of the church that went around to funerals and, let's say, harassed people's families. They were burying their veterans, and they would have signs within earsight and eyesight of the families burying their dead. Went to the Supreme Court because there was a similar law passed against them. And every court they went into found it a violation of the First Amendment, including the United States Supreme Court, which ruled 8-1 that the First Amendment free speech protection shielded these church members from tort liability for intentional infliction of emotional distress. This is something that I know unconstitutional Tom knows about. So it gives you a sense when these officials, these legislators, these governors, these elected officials swear on a Bible to uphold their oath and office and violate it with such freedom.
Citizens are entitled to an array of rights, from free travel to free speech. Convicted felons in prison because they abused and surrendered their rights. And nobody has a right to continually taunt the victims of their violent crimes in the public square.
Your response, Mumia Abu-Jamal.
My response is he knows that's ridiculous, both in law and in fact. I've never taunted anybody. As you know, as a journalist, I've rarely talked about the events of December 9th, 1981. I've talked about all kinds of other issues. I didn't talk about that when I was at Goddard. Most of the people who voted for this bill, whether they were legislators or senators or the governor themselves, they never heard that speech. I invite them to hear it and then say that madness that Tom said. I called them unconstitutional. Here's proof of that. Again, the United States Supreme Court in Simon & Schuster versus New York Crime Victims Board held the acts of that state agency and the legislation that enabled them unconstitutional. And this was, I believe, the full court, 9-1. This was in 1991. In my own civil history, you remember me calling you and them coming up and pulling a wire out of the wall.
Who pulled that wire out of the wall?
It was a guard. I was talking to you. I believe it was 96 or around that time. We were having a discussion. It was live. And all of a sudden, the phone went dead. And I saw, out of the corner of my eye, a correctional officer walk down to where my line was plugged into the wall, and he pulled it out. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. You know, I was like, hello, Amy, hello, because it just didn't make sense to me that he did that. He did that. But, of course, that was shortly after the publication of Live from Death Row. And the Department of Corrections sanctioned me, gave me a write-up, and we went to court about it. The case is preserved as Abu-Jamal versus Price. In that ruling, the Third Circuit of the United States Court of Appeals said I have a constitutional right to write. If I have a constitutional right to write under the First Amendment, then don't I have a constitutional right to read writings?